Welcome to the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast. Pull up a chair and kick up your feet as you get ready to enjoy some of the industry's most entertaining and actionable Dynasty content on the planet. We're talking veterans, rookies, sleepers, and oh yeah, you know the crew has those dad jokes ready for you. So let's not wait any longer and bring on the host or some combination of Doug, James, and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It is the best time of the year. The NFL Combine just wrapped up in Indianapolis. The three of us are back together again for the first time in a while. The Triforce is complete for you Zelda fans out there. Tyler's back. James is here. I'm here. We are ready to rock. Tyler, what is going on? You're looking quite Triple H-ish today, I might add.
Thanks. I took a quitting break per se because I didn't want to spend the money. So I have been using Keeps, trying to get my hair to grow. You guys noticed the difference. It grew back. Not a sponsor, hashtag not a sponsor. But it started growing back. Then I stopped using it. And if you don't read the label, if you stop using it, your hair goes back
falls
to normal.
out.
Your hair pretty much starts to scratch. So I started using it again. So I had to shave until the little tiny new ones are perfect with the old hair. And now we're at the point where it's going to come back again. And I just need to stay with it. But yeah, it's thanks. I appreciate that. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. James, what's new there in Jersey?
Oh, I'm happy I got the weekly check-in with the ginger chia pet over there. You know, that's for sure. No, Jersey's
Are you
good.
out of moose yet?
Starting to get warm. Hater.
We're only 15 days until spring, supposedly.
Starting to get warm here in South Jersey. Just doing stuff with the family this week. Obviously, we got to watch the Combine and looking forward to free agency coming up this week.
Yeah, free agency is right around the corner. We're going from Combine this episode. We're going to be going into free agency starting in 10 days. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite times of the year, the end of February through the end of April, when you get the Combine, free agency, and then the draft is like the chef's kiss, if you will, of the NFL season for us Dynasty folks. Love it. We are going to talk about the Combine this week, but before we do, I want to talk to you about liking and subscribing this channel on YouTube. If you listen into the podcast and you're like, you know what, I'd like to interact with these guys when they do their episode, you can do that. Go on Facebook Live, follow Dynasty Happy Hour, go on YouTube. You can like and subscribe Dynasty Happy Hour there as well, and do all those awesome things. And not only can you do that, but you can also go on Manscaped, because we've got a promotion with Manscaped going on as usual. Still going. Code DHH for 20% off. You know, Tyler's complaining about losing hair. If you got too much hair and you need to shave it, then Manscaped has the right tools for you. With their skin-safe technology, their waterproofed, nifty LED lighting on their Lawnmower 4.0 wireless charger, I might add, that is included, as well as with the Weed Whacker, which is a nose and ear trimmer, which is absolutely awesome. It's probably my favorite product because I have problems in those areas. Yes. So not only are you going to be nice and dolphin smooth, but you can smell like just the nicest smelling guy there is known to man. You got the crop preserver, the cleanser, the reviver, all the things for all your areas to be lemony fresh. It's absolutely awesome. So once again, use code DHH for 20% off at the checkout. Guys, let's roll into some player news, and then we are just going to talk. We're going to kind of free range chicken this Combine, and we're going to talk about some of our observations.
That's like $50.
Free range.
Yeah. Those eggs, man, they're
organic life, baby.
They're expensive. So we're going to talk about the Combine players and what we observed here in a minute. But we did have some news going on because the NFL, there's always news. So I'm just going to hit these real quick, and you guys can chime in as I go. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reports the Giants will place the franchise tag on Daniel Jones if he isn't signed to a contract extension by Tuesday. So supposedly Jones is asking for $45 million per year.
Can I have $45 million?
Excuse me, Daniel Jones. That would make him the fifth highest paid quarterback in the league, tied with Patrick Mahomes. So I think that $45 million is a
little off.
It's a little off. James, this is your team's quarterback. What's your obviously the franchise tag makes sense, but is he out of his absolute tree even getting close to asking for this?
Yes. I mean, he had a great season, and
he had a good season.
It still had question marks to it. Oh, is it because of the wide receivers not being there? Is it because the offensive line started to fall apart second half of the season? I don't think so. I think it's just Daniel Jones, to be quite frank. And I think they're going to give it a run one more time. I do believe Daniel Jones gets the franchise tag. They wind up giving Barkley a deal. That's what I would do if I was in that situation.
Yeah, I agree. CBS Sports' Josina Anderson reports the Dolphins are, quote unquote, exploring all options at quarterback this offseason. This news comes immediately following a quote from Miami GM Chris Greer, where he stated his concerns with Tua Tagovailoa's prospective longevity. Obviously, we know that Tua's had some concussion issues this year with 3 of them, and it took him a while to clear that last concussion protocol. So I think they're probably going to do their due diligence at the quarterback position, but I don't think they're going to do anything crazy. The Dolphins have until the 1st of May to make a decision regarding Tua's 5th-year option. Let me be honest on this one. To pick up Tua's 5th year makes a ton of sense, and they'll do it. They'll at least do that this year, and I think if Tua makes it through this year healthy and on pace for what he did last year, he'll get a long-term deal. I don't think that's a problem. The safe thing is just pick up his 5th year, roll through it, and then figure it out. Because I think when Tua was healthy, he showed he was one of the most efficient and per game, fantasy points per game, best quarterbacks in the league. I think he was top 6 or 7 at the position. So, Tyler, any thoughts on the Dolphins here and Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot. And you know what the situation kind of reminds me of? The whole Carson Wentz thing. I would not be shocked if they draft a quarterback in the 2nd round or 3rd round and maybe see what they got. Like they lost a 1st-round pick for doing bad things, trying to get Tom Brady
and Sean Payton, yeah.
It's weird that Tom Brady's always involved in a team losing picks, but
it's true.
That's just me. But I could see them kind of going the Carson Wentz route, drafting a quarterback like they drafted Jalen Hurts, and then seeing how it goes. Like if they hit on the 2nd-round quarterback or the 1st-round quarterback, and Tua stays healthy, they win. Like because they can trade one or figure it out. But if Tua stays hurt, like Wentz always stayed hurt and always was up and down after his injury, that could be a win for them because they have that 2nd-round pick, the flyer. Who knows what they're gonna do? But that's what it reminds me of. Like because Carson Wentz's value in Dynasty was through the roof. People had him top
an MVP
5
candidate that year, yeah.
Top 5 and all that stuff. And then when they drafted Hurts, they're like, "Oh, Wentz is gonna be fine." Like I was saying that, and I'm like, "Oh, Wentz is fine. He's a Dynasty asset." Kind of like where Tua's at right now.
Now he's just Dynasty ass.
But if Tua gets hurt one more time, like this is career ending. And personally, Tua.
We said that with Brandon Cooks though too. Like I get it.
Brandon Cooks has not had a concussion for a long time that we know of.
That he knows of.
Sadly, this is part of the game, and you don't want to see it, especially with a smart quarterback like Tua and a bright future. But yeah, I really worry about Tua, and Miami doesn't seem like they want to be all in with him.
Yeah, I think they're just being cautious. It makes sense. I mean, if they go all in with him, and then he has it's going to be not a good thing. So they kind of have to play it by ear. So I agree with that. All right, The Athletic's Jeff Howe writes that Brock Purdy is expected to have elbow surgery next week. The timeline remains up in the air, with the belief being that Purdy will need 6 months to recover from Tommy John. I say probably longer.
Yeah.
Because it's Tommy John, and like baseball pitchers need a full year. I know it's different. I knew it's different for football. Until they're able to fully look at the extent of the damage while he's under the knife, the Niners won't know for sure, obviously. Trey Lance remains a fairly safe bet to see most of the 49ers offseason and training camp reps with the ones, which has made him kind of a buy low. I think he's QB 13 or 14 in Dynasty startups right now. It would be tough for Purdy to mount a comeback from the sideline. Definitely true on that one. I think the Niners, it'd be interesting to see I could see them adding like a Max Duggan or, a quarterback like Stetson Bennett, like a guy like that in the draft later on.
Such a Shanahan pick.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I don't know if they're going to – I mean, they'll probably bring in a veteran, maybe even like a Jacoby Brissett, who could be kind of a mentor to Lance too, who's been a solid starter. He's got good weapons around him. Like they wouldn't probably have to spend up too much to get him. Even like a Teddy Bridgewater, I think if he's a free agent, I think he is. Guys like that. So this is going to be a situation to monitor. Trey Lance's value is one of the more polarizing things in Dynasty, as it has been for the last couple of years now. We all know that the upside is potentially there, but will we ever see it? That's the question. So obviously a situation to monitor, and all of the weapons that are in San Francisco.
So I do want to chime in on Trey Lance a little bit. If he does not perform this season, his value drops immensely. Like it's falling off.
Yeah.
And I think after this year, if we don't see anything, I think the window's kind of shut. I get he's young and stuff, but it's been 3 years since we've seen Trey Lance produce on a football field. So we're getting at the point where it's like, okay, shit or get off the pot. And the value.
He'll be the next Vikings quarterback. Yay.
I would love to see it. That'd be perfect.
Terrible.
I would just love to see him on the field for a full season.
That would be,
exactly.
James, that is the right mentality right there.
And then we'll make our assessment. I believe he had all the tools coming into the league. It's just a matter of him being able to actually show them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're speaking the two biggest Trey Lance fans here. I mean,
I am invested.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones said the team still has interest in signing free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham. Cool. Nobody cares at this point.
It's the worst player news ever. Who wrote this shit?
Yeah, Jones said he's somebody that I have the same kind of interest that I had in him during the season. And he also he's had indirect contact with free agent receiver Beckham, was linked to Dallas in December, but concerns over his knee prevented a deal from getting the job done. I will tell you this. When I saw Odell Beckham at the ESPYs, I think it was in July, and he walked up to the stage to present, I was like, oh, that knee is not even close to ready. He was walking weird, and I'm like, he's a ways off. And
he's 30.
In my brain, I was right. I was watching the Combine, and they had like the top 50 free agents list. They had Odell Beckham at like 13 over Jacoby Myers. Give me Jacoby Myers over Odell Beckham. Who are we kidding? Like, can you talk about like name recognition only? Because Beckham, did he have some good games for the Rams and win a Super Bowl? Sure.
He did have a pretty good Super Bowl. I was just about to say
but
that.
now he tore his ACL again, and he's 30 years
knee?
old.
No,
maybe
it was the other one.
Was it?
I could have sworn it was the same exact.
Even
knee.
still, he's 30 years old. Like, we all know that, like, unless you're Jerry Rice or Tim Brown or Chris Carter, like guys like that, like, you're not gonna play well like into your mid 30s. Like, sorry, Art Monk, old school dudes that aren't pussies like Beckham is. Anyway, so I don't care where Odell Beckham goes. If you can get anything for him on your roster, go you. Take a 3rd round rookie pick for Odell Beckham.
The news is there. That's why the news is there.
Yes, that's the move. Get Beckham off your roster while you still can before he's absolutely worthless in 12 months. So, anywho. All right. I want to give a shout out to Trophy Smack. I was looking at their website. They're just adding all sorts of new products all the time over at Trophy Smack. Just a great, great company. Now supported by Mark Cuban and his Shark Tank crew. They got backing from him. They've got a beautiful brand new warehouse and headquarters out in California. I want to go to eventually someday. Tyler, set that up. But you can upgrade your fantasy league today. If you haven't bought your trophy yet, you need to go and do it. And when you do it, use code DHHRING. You'll get a free $60 championship ring with your trophy or belt purchase. They have grills. They have stuff for losers of your league. And if you don't only play fantasy football, well, baseball season's coming up. Hockey and basketball are about 2/3 of the way through. Soccer, all the occasions. If you think trophy, the first place you should think of is Trophy Smack. You can customize it. Chef's got his customizable belt. It's absolutely awesome. So once again, code DHHRING on TrophySmack.com to get that free championship ring for you and maybe someone else if you want. All right. You guys ready to talk the Combine?
Let's talk.
Get in it.
Let's talk. All right. We're just going to do open forum, but I want to start it with this. And we'll start with Tyler. What interested you most about the Combine?
Oh, it was easily the quarterbacks because, in my opinion, the quarterbacks kind of were the hot topic of discussion. For years, everybody thought
they
this
weren't
was
the Spencer's gifts. They were the hot topic.
They were like, everybody was talking 23 class is the class that's going to kind of change the quarterback market, and that's what you wanted. So
you go into the back of hot topic, and it's just Anthony Richardson.
And it's just shot glasses.
If you know,
that's all you're taking is shot glass, shot after shot of combine takes. And for me, it was the quarterbacks. And when I came away with today, I think we should start there, obviously, because that was kind of the
hot topic.
the rocket that lifted off this whole weekend. Like
what did I say on last week's pod? The Anthony Richardson was going to blow the roof off the combine,
and he
people
did.
are going to start going to say he's the 101, like in Superflex and in the NFL draft.
All you saw was on Twitter that day was the 102 just ganged 10 times its value. Because Bijon, I mean, we'll talk about him later. He's almost locked. Like that is a lock 101, maybe. Like I agree. If you're not watching YouTube,
and we had this conversation last night.
In Superflex, you are thinking to yourself, "Here's this Konami code quarterback that Jalen Hurts, high scoring quarterback past year, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, who wasn't even a good thrower of the football, was dominant, and now he's a top 8 startup pick in Superflex leagues. Like that's nuts, and you can have that in Richardson, who was bigger than Fields." Who probably has, in my opinion, a stronger arm than Fields. I get Fields has a really nice deep ball touch. Richardson might not have it quite yet, but Richardson has a cannon. And then I want to talk about CJ Stroud. People are throwing comps around. You know what I saw when I saw that deep ball? So if you go back to Joe Burrow and his pro day, all I saw was the ball on a string. And if you can go back to our talk about Joe Burrow and prospect talks and just how pretty his deep ball was and just how perfect it was and just on a string, that was Stroud. Like when he was throwing his the deep ball, holy crap, it was just floating right into the receiver's hand. And I know I said this was Joe Burrow. It was like an angel took the ball and handed it right to the receiver. That's what it felt like with Stroud.
You know who took a massive L? It was Bryce Young not being out there on the field doing this thing because all these other quarterbacks, we talk about Richardson, we talk about Stroud, we talk about Levis, like Bryce Young, who is a lot of people's quarterback 1 in this class. Like by him not, I get why he didn't do it, but when you have the other 3 guys and them all balling out, like it would have been fun to see Bryce Young. It would have made it a more competitive environment, and it would have made it a lot of fun to see all 4 of them kind of have at it.
The positive nature about Bryce Young was he weighed in at 204 or 203. So that is huge.
At 5'10"?
At 5'10" and like 3/8 or something like that. So I thought that was good. That was Kyler Murray's size, and I think he's a different ball player than Kyler Murray. So I like it. Kyler Murray actually put himself into problems, and the reason why he got hurt. Bryce Young, all you heard of Daniel Jeremiah talk about was the meetings and how smart he was recalling plays and how he's able to do that stuff. And you see it on the
Kyler
field.
can do that with matches of Call of Duty.
And that's so true. And my last thing about Bryce Young, which I think there's 3 quarterbacks and you can mix them up and whichever one you take. I don't have a problem with that at the moment and before we see landing spots. But Bryce Young, to me, I still have very high as well because they're talking like there's Bryce Young had 3 batted down balls all year, which is very low.
And we saw how many Kyler got batted down.
And it was same as Drew Brees. And they talked about how Brees was able to throw it into an area without seeing the receiver. And that's Bryce Young because he's so damn smart and so football smart that it's going to propel him past the height issues that he has. So I actually like Bryce Young still.
Yeah, I'll pick up where you left off, Tyler. And I agree with the fact that Bryce Young is still my QB1 as well. But my QB2 is finally everybody else's, I think, QB2. Anthony Richardson may have the highest ceiling in this draft class, higher than CJ Stroud, who silky smooth passes, knows how to read a defense, knows where to put the ball, makes
really good
mistakes.
mechanics.
Yeah, everything you want out of a top prospect quarterback. And same
except
thing
for
with
that
Bryce
he played
Young.
for Ohio State because they can't.
Yeah, I mean, until you see those passes with JSN that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I think Bryce Young did the smart thing by not doing the combine because I think he had the most to lose if he messed up during the combine. If he didn't run as fast as Anthony Richardson or throw a beautiful arc like CJ Stroud, like he would have lost touch, and he's already sitting at the top of the food chain. So why risk that? So I agree with that. He came in,
the competitive nature of it. That's what
he showed everybody that he ate like 20 Snickers bars the night before the weigh-in.
Oh, gallons of water.
Yeah,
he was at Waffle House, just
butter, dude. Liquid butter.
Gallons of water.
He went to a movie theater and just sat underneath the butter pump.
Gallons of water, and then put a chip clip right on the urethra, so he couldn't pee at all.
Yeah,
God.
so I mean, he was drinking like liquid margarine before the
bladder was
weigh-in.
10
Liquid
pounds.
margarine.
That's
Ooh.
why he didn't work out.
Ooh, that's
Mayonnaise.
tough. He did not look like he drank liquid margarine though.
No,
Like,
he did not.
he
No,
didn't
he
look
looked a little happier
pale.
than that.
Pale. He didn't have regret in the face.
Didn't have a heart attack on the combine
Oh
field.
man. But
That would have been crazy.
going back to that, like agents have so much say, but I think a lot of quarterbacks in this class said, "Screw you, I'm just going to do it." Because what Daniel Jeremiah was even saying was, "Hey, you're not going to get knocked for a bad throw or stuff. They just want to see the ball coming out of your hand, and that's it." Like Will Levis, he had some bad throws, and he had some feet issues. But
he's going to have those though.
they were all talking about like how it just zipped out of his hand, and you could tell, like you could see it when he threw it. It was just easy, and it popped like that, and that's all they wanted to see, and they're just having fun. And Richardson, he came out and said, "I want to destroy the combine," and he destroyed it. Like even my kids who know nothing about football, they watched this 40-inch vert, and my daughter goes, "Wow, that was really high." And I said, "Yeah," and he throws the ball.
yeah, and his broad jump, like just the 40. The 40 was what, like the
through the
fourth,
ceiling
the
with the
fourth
measures.
fastest one.
4.43 or 4.44. But I was telling James
4.43 official.
He was faster than Bijon.
I hated how they matched him up with Cam Newton and Josh Allen. Why didn't they throw Justin Fields on there? Because he ran a 4.44. They never comped him with Justin Fields. It's like, come on, just throw somebody who's in that range as well. Because I think he's close to Justin Fields too. But oh man, we'll probably talk about all the comps
to go full circle though. Like he is my QB2 in this draft class. I had him over Stroud after watching film because I think his potential is really through the roof. Very young, still kind of green, and I think he could be trained. So if he lands on a team now, I know he's being mocked to Seattle now. He might wind up in Carolina. But either way, I don't think he makes it out of the top 5 picks.
Atlanta should
NFL
trade
draft.
up.
There's way too many teams that have needs for him,
and that are right there.
Out of there either.
They're right there. Like a team is gonna have to trade up for one of these quarterbacks. Like Atlanta, there's rumors. Carolina, the Colts will probably have to trade up.
The Raiders might have to even make a move. Like
the Raiders, the Raiders, who I feel
the Bears could be like, let's trade down to 4, and then trade down to 8. And then trade. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears move back twice and just be like, "Give me all the picks."
The Dynasty
team.
They need offensive line. They need wide
everything.
Receiver. Like, it makes a lot of sense for them to do that.
Just
and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and that's the thing with this quarterback class. It's what flavor do you want? Do you want safe, somebody who's going to be a low end quarterback one? He's super safe, and I think he is probably.
I think he's the safest of the group.
He's going to be the guy that we're like, okay, I feel comfortable with this. That actually has a ceiling of Joe Burrow. So he's got a ceiling, but he's going to be like a Jared Goff safeness, like how he played this year, which isn't bad. It's not a bad thing. And if you want the extreme value chance, that's Anthony Richardson. Do you want the possible 102, 103 in startups in Anthony Richardson, who's 20 years old, super young? Do you want the guy who could be an outlier in Bryce Young, but has been, talked about since he was probably 17 years old as the next big thing? And then there's Will Levis, who's the cannon of an arm, who our buddy Memphis is a huge fan of, who loves these guys. He was in a Josh Allen when nobody did not want him. And Will Levis, he's got those vibes, but it's definitely a chance of another Drew Lock. So it's a whole range of players that you can dip your fingers into.
Paxton Lynch, hopefully not.
Oh man.
Let's hope not. James, what interested you most about the combine while we're talking about it?
Obviously,
we'll kind of get into
it definitely was Anthony Richardson. But one thing that really stood out to me was, and we can just use this as a stepping stone into the positions a little bit, was JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. He literally separated himself from the field. He is my number 1 wide receiver, and then it's a long fall to number 2. I know we had hopes for Jordan Addison. I know we had hopes for the guy from TCU. Sorry, his name is not
Johnson.
Quentin
Quentin
Johnson.
I'm off him. Like,
But Quentin
I was
Johnson,
before the
like
combine.
watching the film from Quentin Johnson, I had horrible flashbacks of Jalen Rager.
I have
I'm
all
like,
the flashbacks of like
I do
Denzel
not
Mims.
want
It's
anyone from TCU.
Kevin White. It's Kevin
I
White.
can't- yeah, I can't.
I can't do it.
I can't.
But realistically, though, no, Jackson Smith and Jigba, wow. Like for being hurt for part of the year and coming back,
He
and
did
he just
in one of his
so perfect.
Not only did he absolutely destroy the combine at the 3-cone, which is a
6'5",
a metric for wide receivers and running backs, like quick feet. And it's one thing that like I know the Patriots have always been high on was like the 3-cone drill because it shows like your shiftiness and your
Agility.
athleticism. Agility. There was one when I was watching JSN, he was doing one of their like I think it was like a post route. And the footwork, now, granted, it's not a real defender. I get it. But like the guy squares up in front of him and he broke like left and right so fast. I was like, oh, that's it. That move right there is what's going to make him successful at the next level. That footwork and release is awesome. So seeing that, I was like, and we saw it on his Ohio State tape, but seeing it there and like, it was like, ooh, when it's like featured.
Yeah. For me, with people like that, it looks easy. Like we'll talk about another player in a different position. It almost looks like they're not trying. Like Cooper Kupp, when he runs a route, you're like, wow, what's so special about him? But then like when you actually break it down, you're like, holy shit, like this guy.
And we wonder why he's always open because no one can stick him.
And JSN to me is it. Like he is the modern day NFL type receiver. He gives major Justin Jefferson vibes to me. Somebody who's like, oh, all he can do is play the slot. And hey, guess what? He's 200 pounds. He's 6 foot, 6'1". He can do more. Like he can definitely do more. And I think for me, a perfect situation is Houston. I know they're kind of a rebuilding franchise, but why not take Stroud and JSN at 12 and boom, like that connection stays. Perfect. He's going to be hyper targeted because he's going to be the one right off the bat. Like that would be a perfect scenario. And to me, yeah, like Chef said, it's JSN and a huge drop. Like Doug said, Quentin Johnson. I saw enough on tape. I'm off. I don't want it. And with Jalen Hyatt, I want to jump right into him. He may be fast, but guess what? He's not as fast as we all thought. He looks fast, but he looks awkward to me when he's on the field. It's just something about him. Like people are like, oh, he's like Will Fuller. Will Fuller actually had a different style of play. Will Fuller could do more, but for me,
even with
Hyatt,
those baby hands,
yes, that's true. He could grab a whopper, but Hyatt to me, I am way off. He's one of the receivers where I saw, and it's like, nope, no thanks, I'm good. Oh, like it's an interesting receiver class. I think Addison will probably fall a little bit due to his 40 time. He didn't run as fast as people thought. I think it was a 4.49. But
and not to mention, like Hyatt isn't really very versatile when it comes to the route tree. He could run down the field. He could do a couple crossing routes, but as far as muscling defensive backs and getting past them, he's not going to be that. He had problems in college with contested catches, and it will definitely transfer into the NFL because of his size.
Going back to Addison, I think a lot of people were down on his 40 time. When I saw his first 40, all I thought was that man is cruising. Like he looked fast. He could be on the field fast.
And it wasn't his fastest.
No, and it wasn't his fastest. I think Zay Flowers got a huge bump. And hey, Chef, do you know who he's
You mean Tyler Lockett?
Yeah.
You mean Tyler Lockett?
all combined. Tyler Lockett, he's perfect. He's just like Tyler Lockett. You know what? I think they're completely
the size, the speed,
personally.
the weight,
the footwork, the route
footwork, the juking, the agility, the jumps, the height.
Hey, if he ends up being Tyler Lockett, awesome.
I hope he winds up on the Seattle Seahawks right behind Tyler Lockett. That would be perfect for my Geno Smith share.
Yeah, he's gonna break through Dwayne Eskridge first, James. Come on.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God. 29-year-old Dwayne Eskridge.
Former second-round pick.
Last year's second round pick.
Is there any receivers that kind of were like,
hello,
that guy looks interesting?
I'm sorry, what was that?
For
is there any receivers that you're like, that guy looks interesting? Like,
yeah, I think what the hell is Marvin Mims, I think really improved his stock. Like,
don't trust that name though.
He's a junior. We talked about Marvin Mims before the show and how he was like in Devy leagues, like Marvin Mims was like a top 5 receiver in Devy. And then, he was a little quiet. The quarterback position was in transition a little bit the last couple of years in Oklahoma. So I think that hurt him. But, him running a 4.38, looking really good. He's known as a route runner. I think he definitely improved his stock. Guys that I saw, what is his name? I'm sorting through it right now. The kid from Stanford, Michael Wilson. I know he didn't run the fastest 40. He was at a 4.58, but strong, good route runner. Just watching him run his drills, I thought that he looked good. And that's a name that I don't think a lot of people have really put too much thought in. So Michael Wilson was one.
Mine was Josh Downs from North Carolina.
A lot of people love Josh
Kind
Downs.
of flew under the radar at the combine, obviously with JSN making so much news. I think he's going to be one of those players that may slip into the draft. Kind of reminds me of Kadarius Toney, how versatile he is. Very quick, small guy, 5'9", plays slot. And guess what? There's a lot of teams in the league that need a good slot receiver.
I think he'll end up being an end of the first round pick in Dynasty.
As long as he doesn't go to the Giants.
So
the last thing we need is another.
Bryce Ford Wheaton was a guy that kind of popped off. If you don't remember, he played really well. I think it was week 1 of the college season, like blew up. I think it was over 100 yards, probably 2 touchdowns, but a massive win in that. He's a tall guy, very lanky. He ran a 4.38, but the issue was on the field drills. He had a lot of drops, and there's a lot of nice passes to him. So
the project, right?
Chris Conley type vibes I have from this guy, a guy who's ultra athletic, but ouch. And another guy that really caught my eye was Jacob Copeland out of Maryland. Like he's a perfect size, 6 foot, about 205. He was explosive to me, and I liked what I saw there.
Anybody that disappointed you guys? I thought like Pua Nakua, who I liked a lot. I still like him a lot. I thought that he struggled in some of the drills a little bit. So that was kind of disappointing. He didn't show off. Like he looks faster on game tape than he did at the combine, which isn't a problem. Like I want guys that are fast on the NFL field, like with pads on, he looked faster. But he was one that I was like, I took away a little bit and I was like, oh, he didn't have the best combine of a player that I really liked. James, was there anyone that came to mind that you were like, as you were watching?
Let me go to my list real fast because I think so. And it was Mohammed Ibrahim. I was hoping, the running back. I was hoping that he would actually show us more than his downhill running.
No,
but no,
guy from Minnesota. I can tell you who Ibrahim is.
Yeah,
I can tell you
straight from Minnesota.
He's James Robinson without hands. Like that.
That's not good.
Ibrahim is amazing, an amazing runner. He's fantastic. He would destroy any Big Ten teams. That's all they were. Big Ten is defense and running, and Ibrahim would run all over these defenses.
That game that he tore his Achilles in?
Yeah, he was destroying Ohio State.
He was popping.
He had 100 plus yards and 2 touchdowns before he went out there.
Yep,
like in the first half. Yeah.
He's an older guy. He's going for his doctorate. So that's what I always set up here. But no, he's a fantastic runner. I think he's got a spot on a team.
I want all the late round, 5th round rookie picks or UDFA. He's going to be one of my targets.
Yeah, I could see him. I could see Evan Hull being in that area.
As long as he runs in the end zone on every play, we're good.
From Fantasy Pros talking about Evan Hull after the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, you mean the guy who kept running to the touchdown?
Yes, and you know what? Now I know what Derek Brown was talking about.
Yeah,
this guy plays to win, and
there's no quit.
There's no quit in this guy. He was up tempo, upbeat, fast as all hell. I believe Derek Brown tweeted out, shout out Derek Brown, that he ran the same 40 time as Bijon Robinson.
Yeah. Robinson is a 4.46. Evan Hull right behind him, 4.47.
Right, and obviously Evan Hull doesn't have the shiftiness that Bijon Robinson does, nor did he have the footwork. I believe he tripped over one of the bags during the Deuce Staley challenge. Yeah, which he picked up and slammed in the end zone after he ran.
Picked it up and ran it into the end zone.
Like Evan,
but no, I think he was. I think he was a very surprising piece that I'm looking forward to. Probably
he's got Tyler Algier vibes to me.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And I just want to tell you guys, going back to JSN. So I'm looking at the 3-cone drills. JSN at a 6.57. The next closest, a 6.85. And there's like a bunch of people bulked up in the 6.9, 7.01. But JSN is like, there's a huge enough lead where it's like this guy is special, and there's a reason why he destroyed his freshman year and just took over.
You know who else destroyed this combine? And it was one of the things that I was interested most. And I think you can, if you know me, you can already know what I'm going to say. It was the tight end position, because this tight end position
deep,
is
baby,
absolutely yoked. If you guys watch the combine and you're watching this tight end group, you saw, I think 9 or 10 tight ends run under a 4.7. A 4.7 or less, which is good. Michael Mayer had a 4.7. We all know he's not the fastest guy. But then you look and it's just like tight end, with the fastest one being Will Mallory of Miami. But this one stuck on my radar. I didn't really know much about this guy. It was Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion. We want to talk about Anthony Richardson blowing up the combine at quarterback. Zach Kuntz blew up the combine at the tight end position. If you look at all the measurables, he was right there, top 3 in almost all of them. He had the third fastest 40 time. He had a 40-inch vertical. That's like Mike Gesicki levels. I know that hasn't worked out necessarily in fantasy, but we love Mike Gesicki. He had a 10'8" broad jump, number 1. I don't know if he did the 3-cone or not. Yep. Oh, by the way, he did, and he had the fastest 3-cone at 6.87 seconds. I think he had the most benches as well, but he had the second fastest shuttle time after Darnell Washington. His 20-yard shuttle was 4.12, and then his bench, he was second in that with he tied for first with 23 reps. So across the board, Zach Kuntz flipping killed it. So that's going to be a guy. This tight, if you're in a tight end,
sure that's how you pronounce his last name?
Yes. There was a former baseball player, don't know if they're related. His name was Rusty Kuntz, and you can imagine the jokes that he got as a kid. He used to play for the Mets back in like the 70s.
Oh, man.
I know that. I do not know
that poor guy.
But for me, what this means in this tight end class,
this Kuntz was not rusty.
No, not at all. He was shiny
bright. Yeah.
You know what? It's all that crop preserver and crop cleanser.
Yeah, it must be sponsored by Manscaped.
It must be. So for me, the tight end position is one I really wanted to see. Now, we didn't even see Kincaid test because he was injured.
Yeah.
And he would have been a guy that would have blown up the combine, I think, too. So if you're in tight end premium leagues, tight ends go a little bit earlier. You should be able to get some flipping gems in the 3rd round of your tight end premium. Like, Sam Laporta is going to come to me in the 3rd round.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
You mean the guy that they comped to George Kittle? I get it. They're 2 different players, but his measurables are very close to George Kittle. Like, am I going to be able to get Sam Laporta in the 3rd round?
Hopefully he learns how to catch, because he dropped everything thrown to him.
That's okay. Watch the tape. Like, I think he's solid. But there's going to be guys out there. This tight end group is like 10 deep of guys that I would want on my roster in a draft. So for me, like the tight end, even guys like, Brenton Strange, I like Tucker Kraft. I liked watching him. He was good. There was just Wiley from Cincinnati, I thought had a good combine.
Wait. What about like Mo Alley Cox's big brother? Yeah, Darnell Washington, baby.
No.
Yeah.
Washington is way more fluid of an athlete. So,
well, yeah, I know. I was just, comparing size.
Yeah. Well, they're both.
I thought Washington was going to take that blocking.
Washington's 2 inches tall.
I thought he was going to take that. What is it? The sliding blocking dummy, the one that slides. I thought he was going to take that home.
Oh God!
Like he picked it up.
That thing.
He picked it up, and it looked like he wasn't even trying. Like he's like, oh, okay, where do I got to put this?
It looked like he pushed an empty cardboard box across.
And that's what he's known for. He's known for blocking. And
is he going to be Mercedes Lewis? That's what they comped him to. When I was like, he's a better pass catcher and athletic than that.
He is definitely, and I think there's so much more to unlock with him. And if people are
100%.
thinking that he's going to be just a second offensive lineman, that's fine, because you know what, he's going to be on the field a ton.
My only concern is he the next Donald Parham?
No, because he will be drafted early.
I mean, size and speed are similar. So
I mean, we saw the
first round pick
grab.
You think
Washington was going to be a first round pick?
Yes,
first round pick,
100%,
100%. I agree, Tyler. Wow, why am I agreeing with you so much?
I don't think so. I call shenanigans.
I think it's a lock for late first.
Really?
Jacksonville, almost a slam dunk. He can sit behind Ingram for a year.
No, I don't see him being a first round pick.
He is so good in the run blocking.
Cincinnati needs tight end.
And also, like, he acts as a 6th offensive lineman, and also he can catch the ball. He proved that in the combine. He's a super athletic person, smart. People are gonna fall in love with him football wise.
Brandon Pettigrew 2.0. Let's go.
No,
No,
Pettigrew
don't
was
do
I just
that.
slow.
I just like saying that.
Pettigrew is still running his 40 this many years later.
Yeah, it was not fast. But
Speaking
yeah,
of
this
that, Michael
tight
Mayer,
end
I
group.
was not happy with his 40.
Yeah, Michael Mayer. We were chatting about this earlier today, and Michael Mayer has been like the belle of the ball at the tight end position up until like maybe a couple months ago, and he's still ranked very highly. My gut just tells me that Mayer will be a really good NFL tight end. I just don't know if he's ever going to be as fantasy relevant as we all want him to be.
Like Cole Kmet was?
Well, here's the thing. Cole Kmet at least had like 60 plus catches. I don't know. There's something about Mayer. I think that depending on the team that he goes to, he's a solid. He can be there on 3 downs. He can block. I don't know. It's going to be interesting with Mayer. He doesn't have the speed. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
To me, he can either be Mark Andrews, because that his style of play on the field reminds me of Andrews. He's very physical. He bullies people around because he's a strong, big dude. But
I think he fits perfectly at 18 with the Detroit Lions.
I mean, yes, I would love to see him
to go there.
I would love to see him with Cincinnati. I think he would be a perfect fit with Cincinnati and what they're doing there. I don't know if he'll fall that far. They say Green Bay. Green Bay wouldn't be a bad choice there. He would be perfect in that cold
Jordan
weather.
Love needs a safety valve.
That's so true. And oh, by the way, did you guys hear Adam Thielen say that he thinks Rodgers is done?
No, I didn't catch that.
He's on NFL, and they say, "What do you think Rodgers is going to do?" And he goes, "I personally think he's done." He goes, "I think he's accomplished what he needs to, and I think he's going to come out of it and just be okay."
He's going to walk away from all that money.
I think he will.
He seems like the douche that would stick around just.
But I always thought that he wasn't going to come back, and he's proven me wrong in the past. So I'm not putting anything past him anymore. Just going to wait for him to decide.
On the Pat McAfee show, all I talked about was, I'll think of it soon. It's going to be 2 more weeks until he's like,
going to do a Gronk and totally screw the teams over
right before the draft. That's what he's going to do.
Gronk retired after the draft.
But I think Green Bay is prepared for it this time.
Oh yeah, I think they're ready to move on. They want to see what they have with Love, and
as
I think
as
Love
they should be. I wouldn't want to deal with that headache all the time. Like, get out of here. Just move on. Like, Aaron Rodgers, go be someone else's problem. Yeah. That's the way
agree. Can we move on to the beautiful position that is the running back and how awesome it was today?
Yeah, and it could have been better, Tyler. We were talking about this earlier. There was no Kendre Miller. There was no Zach Evans. There was no Sean Tucker. This running back group impressed. Yeah, this running back group impressed quite a bit. And 3 of the top guys, in my opinion, they didn't do anything. It could have been an epic day at the combine if all those guys ran. But yeah, give me your observations on the running backs, Tyler.
Jahmyr Gibbs is, in my opinion,
so good.
He's easily locked in at 2. He's a tier below Bijon because Bijon, like they were even talking on the tape, like he just keeps speed. He can cut while keeping that speed. I get he wasn't a 4.3 guy like Barkley, but I don't care. Like that guy just keeps
Barkley wasn't either. He was 4.4 flat.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, just Bijon, I feel locked in 101. If you need a running back, or if that, like, he's gonna be so good that he showed everything that you needed to, and he's a very humble guy. They showed him on camera, but for me, there's a couple players that I was like, okay, locked, like Devin A-Chain, 4.32, dude's fast.
He looked good in all the drills too.
Weighed in at what 188 or something like that, which
his feet were flying
quick, so quick. And to me,
because his legs are shorter than everybody else's.
If he lands,
we'll talk about Deuce Vaughn like that.
I know all about it.
Deuce Vaughn.
They make that noise.
I'm part of that 5'7", 5'8" club, guys. Okay,
but yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he's locked in at 2, and he's in the elite tier. So like JSN, Gibbs, Bijon, and I think personally 3 quarterbacks. Levis maybe outside a little bit for me right now, but yeah, and I heard you guys talk about on the podcast. Zach Charbonnet might not be my cup of tea because of his running style.
Guy. Stay off. He's my guy.
I am a fan of what I saw today. He was catching the ball away from his body. He looked good. And also, I just want to tell everybody, Eric Gray, I have loved since he was a freshman. I was in a college to campus league. I drafted him very early. I loved his tape. He went from Tennessee to Oklahoma, and he was up and down. But man, he caught the ball so well today. I thought he looked good in all the drills, and he is a Corey Clement special to me. I think he is going to be a deep sleeper. A deep sleeper. Everybody's on Kenny McIntosh. I think Eric Gray is going to be my favorite sleeper. Or
I'll take Eric Gray over McIntosh.
Tank Bigsby. I like a lot too. He showed a lot.
I thought McIntosh would be your Kyron Williams this year, James.
Nah.
No,
I'm not on it this year. Not
but faster, obviously.
You're not about them apples.
Nah.
How about them apples? Well,
mistake twice.
Get it?
I mean, if you wanted like Tank Bigsby would be like my guy if I was going to pick someone later on.
My guy clearly today was Chase Brown. He impressed me probably the most.
Do you know he's got a brother?
Does he?
A twin?
Wow. Yeah, he was at the combine too, wasn't he? So for me, Chase Brown stood out as a guy that like I liked going in, and then he tested awesome across the board at the running back position. His status is going to go up a lot. I just liked his running style. He was smooth with his hands. He was quick. His footwork was good. I liked a lot what I saw out of Chase Brown. So he might be one of those guys that's a my guy, and like if he makes it into like the third round in rookie drafts, I might pull the trigger on Chase Brown. It reminded me a little bit of Donald Brown out of UConn, if you remember that name. Tyler said earlier, it reminds him of Khalil Herbert. A little Doug Martin to his game, too. Not quite as strong, but like that compact kind of runner, which Donald Brown reminded me of. And remember,
just a hamster, not a muscle hamster.
Yeah, but Donald Brown was fantasy relevant in his Colts days. We had him on rosters. He was putting together some good weeks back then and then kind of fizzled out after some injuries. But he reminded me a little bit of Donald Brown, which if he can be that and better, like awesome. Like if that's what a third round pick gets me, I'm cool with that. Other running backs that really stood out for me, I thought Rashawn Johnson had a good combine. I know he only ran a 4.58, but he looked good in all the drills, and a lot of people are on him. Like he took carries away from Bijon Robinson. They worked well together. I think Johnson is going to be really good. Tajay Spears is another one. He looked really great in all the drills. He was the big winner at the Senior Bowl. His hands were solid, footwork solid. The speed, we know it's there. A lot of people have him as the RB3 in this class, which is
I'm seeing something interesting. Did you know Deuce Vaughn jumped a 35.5 vert, which is good enough
over
to
half
dunk
of his height.
That's good enough to dunk on an 8-foot hoop if you put his height into.
You know what? So Deuce Vaughn, Chuck E. Cheese is on me, bro. Let's go.
He is fun, and I hope he's such a fun player. Makes it. Like JJ Taylor was the next short guy that I really liked. Yeah. Deuce Vaughn is shorter than him.
Oh yeah,
but I think Deuce actually
he's 5'5", right?
Deuce 5'5",
flat, perfect.
Wow,
right on the dot.
He's like the Muggsy Bogues of football.
I hope he makes it because he is so.
Someone will draft him 5th round or later.
I mean, you imagine trying to take that guy down in special teams on kickoffs. You wouldn't even be able to see him.
I think that's
run
part
him straight into the pile, and he'll go right underneath everybody.
He's so quick.
A lot of people have commented Tariq Cohen.
I like
we were talking earlier, and I said Danny Woodhead or Dion Lewis. Sproles would be the elite. That would be the elite comp, but I don't know if he's that. We didn't think Darren Sproles was going to be what he ended up being anyway, even though he had such a good career at Kansas State. So Deuce Vaughn is just a fun player.
Which is where Deuce Vaughn was from.
Yeah. So when it comes to
full circle.
Oh my God. He's a guy that, I'll take later on in rookie drafts, and the upside might be there just because he's a fun player and I want to root for him. I don't mind making those picks sometimes when it's a coin flip at the end of a draft. James, any running backs here that you were like, wow, or like, bleh?
Yeah, it was the Zach Charbonnet. I'm going to double down. I'm doubling down 2 weeks in a row, baby. I've got him at my RB3. I think he stayed it and did enough to stay in that RB3 area. He has the build and the physicality and the agility to be a 3-down back in the NFL, which are few and far to come by.
You remind me a little bit of James Conner, a little bit.
Yeah,
and that's perfectly fine.
It's fine. Yeah,
and he's
Conner's
a little bit older than everybody else, but that means he does have the experience to get on the field right now. Because he was a starter for like the last 2 years, I believe. decent 40-yard dash, 4.5 for 4.53 for a guy his size.
Dude.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And he has solid hands. So I believe he's going to find a home in the NFL. Put him on the Falcons, see how he does.
So for me, A-Chain is my 3, just because speed kills.
Really?
And
It'll improve his draft stock for sure.
Yeah. And if he's a guy that, like, he's Raheem Mostert style, like a guy that, he's not going to juke you out of shorts, but if you miss him, he's gone. Like, if you take a bad angle.
I have A-Chain at 5, right behind Sean Tucker, which I'm mad that Sean Tucker did not.
Sean Tucker could really fall and hurt from this. Tajay Spears has definitely gone up my board. I liked what I saw.
The kid from Pitt didn't do anything either.
No.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Abenaka Conda.
Anaconda?
My Anaconda. My Abenaka. Israel.
I'm interested to see what his measurements are going to look like, because he's an intriguing prospect to me.
But Bijon is just like, you even saw it on the field. He's a different type of beast. And
he's pro ready, and he at an elite level. He really is. Like, that's the truth.
Yes.
Like, I color code my tiers for my running backs and so forth, my players. He has a different color than everybody else in this draft.
As he should.
Yes.
Like, I put my ones usually at green. No, this guy is like electric blue on my screen. Like, no one is surpassing him as far as positional players outside the quarterbacks in a super flex league. And I would put a quarterback ahead of him depending on need for my dynasty teams.
This combine, and they talked about it a lot on TV. This combine has actually changed my feeling a lot of this draft, and for the better. I was coming in, James, we talked about it last night. Yeah. I was like 7 picks and I'm good. And like after today, I saw a bunch of running backs that I'd be more than happy to take. I saw some tight ends I'd be more than happy to take. Like I saw a big difference, and they were talking about it on TV, that a lot of players are actually doing the drills. Like, they can use it for their tape. They can use it to better their draft stock, and they're just having fun. Like, they're starting to learn, like, hey, this isn't really going to hurt you. We just want to see and evaluate you better this way. It's not going to hurt you that much. So I think this has helped out a ton. And like,
this is a quick tip. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's a quick tip to, like, if you won your leagues last year and you were thinking about selling out on your end of the first round picks, I might second guess that, for the simple fact of the depth in the running back position.
Yeah, especially at Superflex, that quarterback position is definitely going to push some really good players.
Yeah, you might be looking at Zach Charbonnet at like 10.
Yeah, and for me, like, they're talking to Bijon and how he did the combine instead of his pro day. His pro day is on the 9th, which is coming up real quick. And he's talking about how he did the combine instead of the pro day because, he wanted to come in and, show people what he has on national TV and all that stuff. And I think it's going to change the outlook of the combine as a whole for years to come. Even the quarterbacks throwing, like, we all saw it. The crowd loved it. Like, they were ooh and eyeing over it. And I think this year specifically is going to change players' mind and actually being involved in the combine, which is a good thing for us all.
And I liked how they
scouts
broke
throwing
it up
on the last drill.
The scouts. The scouts were great at the end.
They weren't bad at all.
They weren't. But no, I liked how they broke it up this year. They wound up putting the running backs on Sunday. I'm not sure. I don't believe they did that last year. I thought they had the running backs and wide receivers together, and the running backs wound up going like 11 o'clock at night. And everybody's like, well, I'm not waiting for this. They spotlighted all the positional players evenly. I think they did a great job getting all the players in except for, Bryce Young.
Before we wrap up talking about running backs, there is a couple of names too that kind of got on my radar. Keaton Mitchell was one from East Carolina, which is where
he looked good in drills,
right?
Yeah.
He looked very good in drills, smooth hands, explosiveness. He ran a 4.37 40, so his stock definitely went up. And then one that I thought was interesting because he had, like, to watch him almost looked like he was Deneric Prince is just really hard to explain his style. He's like a long runner, long legs, but he looks like a dad runner, but he's fast. It was bizarre watching him because he looks like he's built like he's not built like any other running back that I've seen before. Like, he's just like this. He's wide up top, long arms, long legs, just doesn't look super fluid, but he was fast as hell.
6'1.5" or something like that. He's a taller.
But he looked
running
taller.
back.
Like he even looked taller. He was just really, really weird to watch. He reminded me a little bit of like just Damian Pierce from last year, like, but faster. And I don't think he's going to be that kind of player, but I was just like, it just reminded me as like a quick like visual. So he got on my radar. It'll be interesting to see how the NFL values him because he did test really well across the board. And I thought he looked pretty good in most of the drills.
Awkward.
So he awkward, but he was successful, and he ran
not
the
as
drills well.
versatile as a Damian Pierce.
No,
shedding blockers, etc. Not very.
I gotta
agile,
go back. I gotta go back and watch some of his game film.
But definitely a good size with an athletic frame. And he has natural power to run downhill. So yeah,
it's
a good
good.
prospect.
I'm off. Like Doug said, when I saw his running style, like he's gonna get popped right in the midsection, and that's it.
Oh man,
he had a good vertical. Like
a lot of special teams players coming out of this combine.
No, I heard that a lot in the receiving group, the receivers.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, let's hit one more player, Butte. Like he's big time polarizing. We talked about it.
Let's hit him in the Butte.
Actually, apparently it's pronounced booty.
He didn't run a 40. Did he?
He ran a
4.5 flat,
which is good. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
He's a different style player. It's the hands that I want to see. He fights with the ball definitely during on the field, but man, if he hits, he's gonna hit. So we'll have to see what the NFL thinks of him and all that fun stuff.
I think he'll be a second rounder.
Third. I was gonna say second or third.
I was gonna say late second would probably be where he's at.
Yeah,
because this receiver class is not. I mean, I think Zay Flowers, Josh Downs, those guys go before. Booty will be somewhere in that next.
If you guys remember Juju, he was like a later pick. People are like, wow, why are all these players getting drafted before Juju? That's kind of vibe I'm getting from Booty, because for me, he didn't look as fast as I was kind of hoping. I know he ran a 4.5, but looks wise, he wasn't as fast, but that's not his game. So I wasn't too worried. I could see him drop into late second, early third type of range, which would be a perfect range to mid second round rookie pick. And I mean, that's what chances are for. I mean, you're taking.
Yeah, if I had a mid to late second, I wouldn't mind pulling the trigger there. Yeah. I think once everything kind of shakes, especially if it's in super flex, I mean, yeah, it's going to push it down even more. But I think that's a fair range for him. I think it's going to be very quarterback, running back heavy, and then you'll have obviously in Jigba, probably Addison, and then you've got guys like Flowers that are getting into the conversation, Downs, and then So I think it's going to be that mid to late second round will be a nice spot this year for guys to take a chance on, or in tight end premium leagues. Crap, like it's going to be great. That's a sweet spot.
One last player, Tyson Bagent, the quarterback, where his dad was the arm wrestling champ. I thought he looked really good throwing the ball. Personally, I thought he actually had a very good combine. So that's a deep sleeper quarterback for you guys.
Ooh, Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett is the deep sleeper that I'm looking at this year.
Man, he gives off major Baker Mayfield douche vibes.
So did Sam Howell last year, though. We loved Sam Howell.
Bennett's a different
back-to-back champion. Like
he is.
I get it.
He's a different type of douche.
He's not Summer's Eve.
He's not a Stetson man, or he is a Stetson man. Is that what you say?
He's like Autumn Dusk.
Yes.
Instead of Summer's Eve, it'll be Autumn Dusk. Yeah, I thought the combine was well done this year. There wasn't, my opinion on some players didn't vastly change. There wasn't anyone that I'm like completely off of or anything like that. It was fun to watch. It's good to, get to know these players a little bit more. Guys that my favorite part is the guys that pop onto my radar that I wasn't really tracking at all. And now I'm like, oh, that's what Aaron Jones was to me. Like I knew of Aaron Jones. I saw him at the combine and I was like, oh, I really like this kid. Then I went back and watched his tape and I was like, oh boy, I really like this kid now. And I was drafting Aaron Jones in the third round of rookie drafts in almost every league I was in.
Alex Collins was like that for me.
Isaiah Pacheco last year.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yep. So it's discovering these guys that you may know the name, but you're like, oh, now that you see it. And it was like Dawson Knox for me. Like Dawson Knox didn't have any college tape. But when I saw him at the combine, I was like, he reminds me of George Kittle. Like the athleticism was there. And Knox has been a solid pro. Like He's not really a tight end. He has some tight end 1 weeks,
Like Pettigrew.
but getting him in the 3rd and 4th round, like that paid off, like just like Pettigrew. Yes.
Doug's 2 tight end comps, Kittle or Pettigrew. Get off their dicks, Doug.
Yeah, right.
Well, Pettigrew's a bad one. Like I got to think. There's another one. Who is that tight end? There was a tight end that was drafted in the top 10.
Kyle Pitts.
It was no. He was like big. He ended up being a blocker, and he was in the league for Jermaine Gresham.
Jermaine Gresham, I think, was pick 18 or so. He was in the top 10.
Was he? All right. Well, he was a 1st-round tight end that was like, yeah, he didn't do much in the passing game. Always hurt. But so yeah, Gresham is like, Washington kind of to me. Like could be. I hope someone uses him the way that we want him to be used. We just don't know. But before we wrap up, I did want to give a shout out to Underdog. If you're out there playing in these NBA and NHL streets, MLB's starting soon. Yawn. Pitch clock. Cool. You can go on Underdog, use code DHH. They're going to match up to $100 right now. There's some early best balls going on Underdog as well. So you can get in there and feed your fix to draft super early. Best balls. I did a best ball already this year for one of John Bosch's leagues. And I was the first one to pick a rookie. I got Bijon in like round 7. I think people forgot rookies were in it.
Are you
I was
serious?
Yeah. I was like, why is no one? I'm like, I had to scroll through. I'm like, are rookies in this? Because there's no ADP data, so they don't show up. So I'm like, let me see if rookies are in this. And I'm like, I typed in Robinson, Bijon. I'm like, okay, free agent.
Bijon
that means I can take him. So I took Bijon. I took Bryce Young. I took like some other rookies too. Like this is a super flex. So Bryce Young's like my QB3. Totally cool with it. So yeah, I was on that board. So I was like, let me break the seal. I just don't think anyone was thinking of it. So
all the other players in your league were like, damn it.
They were probably, yes, they were probably like, God, why didn't I think of that? So me, 200 IQ over here, taking advantage of the system.
They probably saw B. Robinson like, wow, Brian Robinson
really
I'm
fell.
not ready to pull the trigger on him yet.
Yeah.
I think it was round 6 that I drafted Bijon in, so I'll take it.
That's great.
Needless to say. So yeah, you can do all those fun things on Underdog right now. So check them out. Once again, code DHH. They'll match up to $100. If you need some new apparel, check out Viridian Global. You can check us out under DHH. You need a hat, sweatshirt, t-shirt. They're comfy. They fit well. You'll love them. So make sure you do that. And while you're there, it is prospect season. As we know, the combine just wrapped up. You can go on dynastynerds.com. Use code DHH for a 15% off. Any subscription, you're going to get trade tools, which is always good. Trade calculators are always handy this time of year. Extra Nerd Herd episode, prospect film room, prospect scores, Dynasty GM, just a ton of cool stuff. Tyler, do you have any final words before we shut this thing down?
No, I posted on Twitter. I said before the combine, I was kind of like, I'm bored with this. And then when the combine hit this week,
The juices got flowing again.
I posted the GIF. It's morphin time, and I'm like, I'm ready. Like I started looking at leagues a lot more intensely and looking
He's
at
like
what
the
picks I
Kylo
have.
GIF with the more.
Yeah,
More.
yeah. So I'm ready. I've already started looking at leagues for trade opportunities and what I need for
You never
teams.
trade though. It's weird.
I never do. Actually, this is a very dull trade offseason that I've had. Usually I'm trading in January, February. So yeah, I need to start picking up my game. I'm losing it.
James, any final words?
See you next week.
Easy peasy. For Doug, James, Tyler, this has been the Dynasty Happy Hour. And like James said, like and subscribe.